Righto, so back on the Cerbera. Motor's still out. My clutch slave is here. The new seals are floating around somewhere. My spare parts, oh yeah, they're over there. But just for today, before I get started on the clutch, I was reading on, I think on Piston Heads forum, the bloke was talking about the bushings in there on the shaft of the throttle blades, and saying that, well, yeah, those bushings wear out over time, and apparently can cause a bit of chaos when you're going to tune, because the throttle butterflies aren't just rotating, they got movement in them. Apparently it something to do with the hesitation at 2,500 RPM, which this thing had. There's something to do with that. I don't know if that's true or not, but I figured, well, while I've got it here, I'll have a look. And these bearings that he said will fit Tamiya, you know, the old model car manufacturer, 1510s, which is 15mm OD and a 10mm ID. Although he did say something about maybe they need a spacer. Actually, let's have a look. Just measure. Actually, I think they will need a spacer. I believe these are 8mm, the shaft. Oh yeah, can't quite read that, but it looks like 8mm. So who knows, we're going to have to come up with something, either make something on the lathe, or we've got a 3D printer now, so maybe I can print a spacer. Not sure if that's the best idea ever, but I can give it a go. Doesn't cost me anything to try. So alright, I'll get the get this front body, or what do you want to call it, holder housing off, and we'll see how we go. Alright, so I got the basically the mount for the throttle position sensor off the front of the shaft, and you can see there. I was sitting here scratching my head. I'm thinking, how the hell did he get the bronze bushing out? And then I went back and looked at the thread, and it's like, well, he didn't get it out. He just did exactly this. Now, the fella on the forum said that well, he put a bit of tape around the outside edge of his bearing to take up a bit of slack. Well, mine's fairly tight. I'm not seeing certainly not feeling any play there. So basically I just need a new one of these. It's going to go on there and yeah, hold that bearing in place. So he did say he ran a spacer, but I don't know if I run a spacer or if I'll just make a whole new piece. Or maybe a spacer. I think I'll probably make a spacer. This saves me having to drill and tap things. Alright, just got to go find my throttle position sensor. Through all my, here it is. Come on you go. There we go. So yeah, there's a bit of a alright, well, anyway, you get the idea. I think this is the one for the other side. Oh no. No, maybe not. Alright, well, I'll go and make up a couple of spaces. Alright, so I made up my little spaces. I printed out 4 of them, just in case. Now, one thing I had, this just reminded me of it. I knew this was an issue, but I'd kind of forgotten about it. But one of the holes on this block that hold the throttle position sensor in is stripped. So it's kind of, just put the camera. Need a tripod. Anyway, yeah, like you look, you can just, that just goes all the way through. Well, it doesn't go all the way through because on the other side it's not stripped at all. So it must just be stripped on 1/2 of the thread there. So I was sort of contemplating, okay, drill them all out instead of these are 3mm threads, by the way. Go up to 4mm threads and blah blah blah. And then I thought, well, hang on a minute, I'll just flip it around the other way. So that's what I'm going to do. My little spacers are they're really tight on the bearing, which is good, which is kind of what I want. So yeah, I'm going to bolt all that back together. And I've got a feeling I'm going to have to do a lot of adjustment by the time I finish this job. A lot of yeah, throttle position sensors and evening out the air usage on each side. But yeah, see how we go. Alright, just to be clear what exactly is going on here. That's the end of the shaft there. Now this one actually did have an O-ring in it, so the O-ring's been pulled out. It's the shaft there, the bearing just slides straight in. And where are we? This is, if you look at this, there's actually a raised lip there. So the thickness of these spacers that I printed out actually includes the, I think it's like 1.6mm that the bearing sticks out, about a 1.7mm that sticks out. Plus I added in another 0.1mm just for a bit of wriggle room. Yeah, so that's put this one on, then I'll head to the other end. Alright, so I'm at the other end of the motor, and this here there's a little bit of a notchy feel to it. So and no, it's not the throttle position sensor that I just put on the other end with my newfangled spacer on it, because I backed it right off and tried it, and the notchiness is still there. So maybe this is maybe this one's got our issue. So I'm just looking at that and I'm thinking, well, I'm just wondering how I can sort of take this apart without having to completely, at least get it back in the ballpark. So yeah, I'm guessing I might get my marker pen out and just mark the position here. Alright, so I got the end off there. Now this part here that goes on like so, that was crazy tight. So I'm wondering, I might take this plate off and just run my little brake booster hone, brake cylinder hone through the center of that. I mean, I know it's got to be tight, but it doesn't have to be that tight. Yeah, nothing. Let me just see. Yeah, where are we? Where's my... Oh, here it is. If I pick out this O-ring, I'll take one of these bearings. These are called plague bearings, by the way. not the greatest brand name. So let's see, is that gonna... Right, well, that slides in there. Feels fairly smooth. These things, I don't know if it's the same on all TBRs, but they actually go past 100% throttle. The butterfly actually sort of goes around to fully open and then keeps going. Not sure that's helpful. Oh, that feels pretty smooth. That's with that bearing in there. I'll just gently prise that bearing out. Surely that bearing can't have had that much of an effect. Alright, well that feels pretty good. I'm just looking in there. So let me get my torch. Alright, so there's a little bit of a stub of a shaft in there that you can see that's larger, and that must be, the bearing must be able to go on there. So again, I might need a spacer. It's got a little pin here, a little locating pin. So I'm not sure my existing spacer is, well, that's not going to work. Alright, so I'm going to have a bit of a think about that, and be back shortly. Alright, so I got my piece back on. I got the old brake hone onto it, so now you can actually put it back on without having to use a hammer. Got my bearing over there. There is actually, well, it's not so bad now with the bearing in there, but you know, if I take the bearing out, yeah, there is actually just, you can actually feel some up and down play there. So yeah, I don't think this is a pointless task. I'll just give it a bit more lubricant in there. Now the bearing I don't think is, yeah, if you push that in, yeah, there's definitely less play there. That bearing, even though it's not got its full depth on the shaft, if you know what I mean. Yeah, it's still doing a job. So alright, so that goes there. This bad boy goes, hang on, am I missing something here? Oh yeah, that's meant to go. I think I know what I've done. Actually, no, I don't know what I've done. that is meant to go there. I've not lost a piece here somewhere. Alright, I'll be back in a minute. Excuse me. Alright, so this piece here, bits like that, what threw me before is that this, yeah, that goes through there. It's just probably the end of that's just a little rounded over, and it just doesn't want to go from that angle. So that's what the issue is there. So basically I just need to make up another sort of recessed steps, whatever you want to call it, spacer to go here and allow room to clear that. So yeah, and I'll print out I don't know if that's, oh yeah, that looks like about the same setup. So I'll probably print out a couple, and yeah, back in a minute. Alright, so I've made some progress. I've got my this is my spacer. Well, I actually got a couple. There's one in there now that I've put in there, but this piece here, because it's now pushed out a few millimeters out, the little screws that located in place, these teeny tiny, they're M3 tiny little screws. I don't know if you can even see that, but of course they're too short, and I don't have any spare. Would you believe it, I don't actually carry M3 M3 bolts, so I've got to go and get some of them at some point. Probably tomorrow I'll head off. But that I've just got to screw together with the grub screw there holding onto the shaft, and that, yeah, well, even like that, even without this plate holding it, clamping it all in place, that's way smoother. Yeah. All right, so tomorrow gonna have to head off and yeah, get some M3 bolts. All right, so it's the next day and she's on there, and that's pretty smooth. Now I was going to go to the shops and get some M3s, but I went over the road and Jaguar Joe had a heap of them, so I just borrowed a few from him. Now I'm on to this side, which looks about the same. Actually feels pretty good, but while I'm here doing it, I'll do the put the bearing in there, and that will be it. I'll be back in a second. Alright, so I got the mechanism off on the other side. I kind of worked out I don't actually need to take this part off, so here's my little 3D printed spacer. It's got the bearing snugly in there, and yeah, let's push that in. That'll be it. I'll get my longer screws that I got from Jaguar Joe over the road and put it all back together, and that'll be it. So yeah, that'll be it for this video. But as you can see here, I've got the slave cylinder, a bit of a mess at the moment, and I've got this bad boy ready to go on. So that'll be the next video, putting that clutch together, rebuilding the slave with its new seals, yeah, putting it all back together, and then yeah, hopefully later this week or early next week it'll go back in the car. Alright, see you later.